Well, hello everybody. I'm slowly getting myself sorted into this new temporary shed here. Can't find anything, but I'm getting there slowly. I thought I'd just take a moment to show you a contraption that I made for wheel alignment. Now, this is not in any way intended to be a better system than having it professionally done, but it is intended so that you can set it up yourself. I've used this on the car and it works really well. So, here it is. There are two of these, one for each side of the car, and that's pretty evident, I suppose, how it works. This is a wheel spinner off an MGA, which also fits the Healey, which is lucky. And what I did was just drill a hole in the centre of that and tapped a 7/16 thread in there. You could use any thread you want. I use a 7/16 because I happen to have a 7/16 bolt handy. So this then screws onto the wheel, obviously. Take the old one off. There's a left and a right hand, so you can put them on both sides. And then this piece of bar clamps onto there, and we do it up, tighten with that nut there. There are a couple of spacing. I hope this is showing up. The light's possibly not quite good. There are a couple of spacing bolts there, which are just round head coach bolts with a thread tapped into the back here, and I've just glued a little bit of carpet on there because both of these sit on the inside rim of the wheel just to steady it up, and you can adjust those because they're threaded in and there's a lock nut on the back. And then there are these two pieces which hang down, bottom, front and rear of the tyre. So you put that on and then you can measure between these two pieces and adjust your toe in and toe out, etc. Remember that we're really measuring the difference between the two measurements, not the actual measurements. And I use this on the MGA because I thought, well, the steering feels a bit heavy and I'd never had it professionally set up. And when I tried it on the MGA, I discovered that I had about a 1/4 inch toe out. So I adjusted it with a tape measure and the steering adjustments on the MGA, and it worked really well, and the A certainly handles a lot better. The steering's a lot lighter. So I'm going to try this on the Healey today, and I'll fit them on and run a little video and show you how they work. But you can make these yourselves. It's pretty self-explanatory. So there's the little gadget fitted on, and you can see there's a tape measure in the front there, and I think I'm right in saying that it doesn't matter what the distance is, it's the difference between the front and the rear that we're checking. I must apologise for the traffic noise here too. We're a bit closer to a main road than we were in the old place. So there they are there. Okay, you don't need to be pulled on very tight, and those little bits of padding on the you can see the little bits of carpet I put on there. You can see how they're just there to protect the wheel from that bolt, so that it doesn't mark the wheel when you do it up. So now we measure the front and then we measure across the back and have a look and see what the difference is. Well, there we go, measured the front and the rear, and it would appear that the rear is about 13 millimeters, which in the old money is just slightly over 1/2 inch. 13 millimeters wider than the front, so we've got a little bit too much toe in, a lot too much toe in. I'm not quite sure what it should be, but I'm probably just going to set it at almost 0 or about 1/8 of an inch, which is 3 mil. So now I'll climb underneath, loosen off the steering arms and see if I can make some adjustment. Well, I'm underneath the car here, and it is really a bit difficult to see probably, but this is the track rod that runs between the idler up there and the steering box, and there is a little, or a large actually, nut on there, which I think is just over 7/8 of an inch. I've got to check that. And there is a corresponding one on the other end of this track rod which you can't see. One is a left-hand thread and one is a right-hand thread. So you loosen both of those off and then basically just turn this track rod with your hand. Just grasp it and turn it, and that moves the front of the wheels in or out, depending on which way you turn, and then you lock up the nuts again afterwards. And I must say these are quite tricky to get at.
because they're up behind this chassis member here, so you can't get a spanner directly onto them. So we'll see how we go doing that anyway, and I'll try not to swear too much and hopefully not lose too much blood on the chassis.
Well, there we are. I've done it. I managed to get it to around about 3mm, which is just about 1/8 of an inch, toe in. So these little gadgets, while they might look a bit sort of Heath Robinson, they're actually very effective and are quite easy to build with just a bit of scrap and a little bit of welding. So there we go. I hope that's helpful to somebody who's going to do a wheel alignment.